Russell, it's already time to start life in the Premier League. How are you feeling? How ready do you feel?
Yeah, I'm feeling excited about it. Really looking forward to the challenge. Really looking forward to the game. And how ready we are, I guess we will see. It's always difficult the first game. You don't know where other teams are. Pre-season games are very difficult to sort of gauge anything from, really, in terms of when the league starts, because the opposition you're playing against are different. Formations change, players change. So yeah, we'll wait and see. I think the first game is always interesting, and I feel like we're at a point now where we need the first game to come. I'm not sure if we had any more training time, what we'd work on, because we're really happy with the work that we've done, and the players just need it to come now. I think everyone does. So yeah, it'd be nice to get it out of the way.
Not too many people are giving you much chance of staying in the league. Can you use that as motivation?
Yeah, I think it will become part of the story, I'm sure, for us. But honestly, like even last season, when it was going very well and when we had a few tough moments as well, it just doesn't affect, like the external narrative doesn't affect the process or the work that we do, really, whether that's really positive or negative. So we'll concentrate on trying to be the team we want to be, on working how we work, on the process that's got us this far, and trying to be better at it.
You mentioned being the team you want to be. Your style of play has been talked about a lot. Concerns over whether that will transfer to the Premier League. Do you continue with that, or do you modify it and adapt it?
I think there's a concern of any style of play transferring to the Premier League. If you look at the teams that have been promoted in the last few years, teams doing things very differently. But if we played more percentage and a bit more direct, maybe it wouldn't become about the style of play, it'd be about the players being good enough. Whereas I know that we're going to be defined by the style of play that will be me and the style of play that won't be good enough. So it's just really interesting in the narrative already about what people look for. So that'll be judged at the end of the season, and there'll be moments I'm called naive and we're called naive, but we've done something for a year. We've done something as a coaching staff for nearly 5 years that's got us to the Premier League that we really believe in. I don't think it's right for everyone, but it's right for us and it's right for this club. And the players really believe in it, the staff really believe in it. I think the fans feel connected to it. So we have to try and be better at it whilst adapting and also accepting it in some games. We are going to have to change a little bit in terms of being comfortable or more comfortable with the opposition having a bit more of the ball than the guys are used to and that we're used to. But it doesn't mean that we're going to change when we have it or change our principles and our the concept of the game for us. So it's going to be an interesting challenge. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
In terms of transfers, how hard is it starting a season not knowing for sure that you're not going to lose a player in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think well, the fairest thing for all is that it just shuts the night before the first game of the season. I think it's nonsense it carries on, but I don't make the rules. So, and I think it only really suits the people with real power, financial power. So we haven't done the business we would have liked to have done as a club yet. We've done some brilliant business, some stuff we're really happy with, but we haven't done as much as we would have liked because there's a long way to go, and then teams have a bit more financial power than us. The teams are waiting for their players to try and get more money. We're maybe waiting for players to leave our building that can then enable us to go and do a bit more business. So yeah, I don't enjoy the transfer, and I'm not sure any managers do, but it's part of it. I'm really happy with what we've done so far. We do need to do some more, and we will do some more. And I guess how much we do, what we do will be defined who leaves the building, and also how the next couple of weeks go.
Carl Walker-Peters, how hopeful, how confident are you that he will stay this season?
I'm a lot more hopeful, a lot more confident than I was 6 weeks ago that we might keep him. It was the same all last summer. It didn't let it affect him one bit. This summer's a bit different because he has a year left of his contract, so the situation changes a little bit. But he was great for us last year. He's the ultimate professional in the way that he trains, and he's still here and he's in contention, and he's a fantastic player, and he knows exactly what we expect of him, and he did it brilliantly last year. So if he is asked to play on Saturday, he'll have no problem at all.
In an ideal world, I don't know how much you're willing to divulge, but if you didn't lose anyone now, how many signings would you like to make, and what positions are you looking at?
I think it's really difficult to say. I think it depends on the targets we're looking at. It depends how hungry they are to play for us, how desperate they are to play for us, how much we really want them, how much money we have to spend. So much changes that. So I couldn't give you a definitive number. And also I'm really happy with the players we have and the core group that we have. I think one of our biggest strengths will be continuity and sticking with the guys and giving them an opportunity that they deserve after last season, because I've been there and I've seen it a lot when teams change too much, and whether that's out of fear or that the need to feel they need to improve quickly, but actually they can lose a little bit of the essence of what they're about. And when we've had a year doing so much work on certain things, it's difficult to then just bring a new player and drop them in. So yeah, I think keeping the core group of players and actually keeping some players that were so important last season as good a business as we will do.
Hi, Russell.
Oh yeah.
You said you all feel collectively absolutely ready for a match now. So has pre-season gone pretty much as you planned, the work you've been able to get into the players? In
terms of the workload and the detail and how hard they worked physically, yeah, it's been great. And we've managed to avoid too many injuries, which is nice. But yeah, I think you only know how ready you are when you step over the white line. It's always like, I've had pre-seasons where you've won every game, you feel great physically, you get to the first game, after 40 minutes you're looking around and can't feel your legs and it's been a tough afternoon. So it all depends. It all depends on the mentality of the team. And we will judge them on the things that we judged them all last year. They know this, the values of the team, how important certain things are. That hasn't changed one bit. And in pre-season they've delivered them really brilliantly, and they're learning and growing together all the time, and we just have to try and continue in that way.
Do you have a fully fit squad, more or less, to go?
Yeah, pretty much. I think Camaldine's nearly fit, Ross Stewart is nearly back in contention, Adam Lallana's nearly back, so actually yeah, they're in a really good place.
With it being Newcastle, I think you faced Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall before on the sideline from looking through it. Are they a good example in terms of they also play attacking, expansive football, but they're good at the other side of the game as well, and they know how to sort of clever, I guess? Yeah,
they're very different to us. They've been together a long time. Eddie and Jason, so they've had a brilliant career. I think there's for a young British coach to look at them and see what they've achieved and what they've done is really is great. That they've had the opportunities they've had and they've earned the opportunities they've had, because it's not been an easy journey for them. So the fact they're doing it now at the very top level, got the team to the Champions League, I think it's an incredible achievement. And so yeah, it's a tough game, and they have a really strong identity in what they do. They're really clear. I played against Eddie's teams a lot as a player. It was his Bournemouth team, and they were really clear. So they're obviously very good coaches, and they look like they have a team and a crowd and a fan base that are fully behind them, and that's really powerful, especially up there at St James Park. So we know we're going to have to manage that and take the temperature out of the game as much as we can, and try and be ourselves as much as we can, and then we'll see where it takes us.
They've obviously got the likes of Isak, Gordon, Guimaraes, but are you and your staff and your players quite good at seeing past the names and just focusing on yourself?
Yeah, we try and focus on us as much as we possibly can. So you make the players aware of their threat, of what we feel their real strengths are, also where we think we'll be able to hurt them, in the same way that Eddie will be about us, in the same way that any manager in the Championship last year would have been prepared for us, and we try and prepare for them. But again, we embarked on a journey that was about us improving and growing whilst being aware and respectful of the opposition. But I think it's really important balance to not get here and then start just worrying about the opposition and the players you're playing against and the names you're playing against. And I think it's really important not to mythologise the Premier League and to build it up as this supernatural thing. They're human beings. They are really top players, but they are human beings. They make mistakes in the same way anyone else does. I think what separates these guys is the physicality and the mentality to bounce back from a mistake and not let it affect them. So I want to see the same from our players, and you know, we will at times, there will be some tough and scary moments in the Premier League for sure, but we have to continue to keep trying to be the team, or not keep trying, the lads do it brilliantly, to keep being the team we want to be. And I think that is the only thing that gives us the best chance of surprising everyone and doing what we are setting out to do.
Just finally for me, Adam Armstrong returns to his boyhood club that made him a player, really. How confident is he and you as staff that he can transfer that prolific sort of Championship scoring form into the Premier League?
Yeah, I think Adam feels like he has a chance in the Premier League now, in a style that really suits him, with a team that suits him, with the management and coaching staff and fan base and teammates that love him and love what he brings. I think Adam's biggest concern is to see where his dad's sitting, if he's in the home stand or the away stand. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I've got no doubt about Adam and his ability and how much he brings on and off the pitch to his teammates and to us. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for quite a lot of the guys that have the opportunity to really try and showcase what they do after a really tough time in the Premier League the last season they were in here. So it's very different, and they have to take the opportunity, and they have to grasp it with both hands and continue to be the people they have been for a year for us, because they've been really really incredible.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Russell, you've gone from the Championship to the Premier League as a player, and you're now doing it as a manager, so you know the jump. Those players in your squad that haven't played in it, and thankfully you've got a number that have, what are the areas in general you notice as a player when you go from that league to that league? Everyone talks about the gap. Mm-hmm. What is it?
Well, it's the speed of it, the athleticism, the power. I think from when I was a player to a manager now, the Championship is full of really outstanding coaches. So I think tactically, will there be that many differences? Of course, when you're playing the top teams and the superstars, then it changes a little bit. But I think it is down to physicality and power and mentality and the level of scrutiny that you have to deal with. So the noise levels already of like the amount of people sitting in this room that I didn't see last season until the playoffs. So it changes all of that. So the players have to be able to cope with that and deal with that and try and be themselves in amongst that. So that'll be the biggest challenge for us, is to be ourselves throughout this season, and I think it's a brilliant challenge for the players.
You said they're very different to you, Newcastle, but obviously you know Eddie well. With regards to how he plays, what are they good at? What do you have to overcome when you play Newcastle?
Aggressive. They run so hard out of possession. They have huge numbers physically all last season, in the top 2 or 3 in the league for sprint distance, high intensity runs. They have physical stature and prowess, and they have some really outstanding players. So, and a really clear way of doing things. So yeah, they have a lot of tools in their armoury, and I think every team will have in the Premier League. But yeah, it's just a challenge I'm really looking forward to. And also, like, one of their biggest strengths is the crowd, the atmosphere, the ground. They all really buy into it, and it's their football makes that city. And when you step into the city centre where the stadium is in the city, when you go there, how imposing that is. So you have to deal with all of that. So, but I think honestly, it's a great first game to really see where we're going to be at, and for the players to really feel some moments and to grow from, and just to get out of the way. And I think it's going to be a really tough one, but they all are, and it's going to be a brilliant challenge.
Will you reflect at all or enjoy the fact of where you've come on the journey? I mean, you have to do it as a player, and all you professionals have to go through so much to prove yourselves all the time. And then you start coaching and you have to do it all over again. Yeah. And a lot of people don't want to do it, but you have. When you get out there and there's 55,000 people and you're like, here we go, will you actually take a moment to, be grateful for the journey you've been on, or will you just be focusing totally on the here and now?
I don't know, it took me about 10 years to be grateful for being destroyed by Victor Moses at Wigan in my Premier League debut as a player. So I'm not sure I didn't play after that when I got dropped, so then I had to get back in the team in a different position. But I don't think in football you get time to really reflect and stand still. I still haven't really done that at Wembley. I've not seen anything. The feeling I had was enough right then. So maybe one day I'll look back. I feel incredibly grateful for it, but maybe one day I'll take time to really look back on it and feel it again, and to enjoy that. But it was already getting prepared for this season. So on Saturday, whilst it will be a brilliant occasion for us, the coaching staff, to manage in the Premier League, how the day goes will be how we remember it. So we will only remember it fondly and in a really positive way if we go and perform and put in a good performance and get a result. Because if it's not, then I won't have the same feeling about it. It would just be a game that passed us by, and it happened and it was done. But yeah, of course, when we've been on a journey, taking over a team in League One in the relegation zone and playing in a certain way and losing the first 4 games, and people questioning what we were doing and how we were doing it in the style of play. So that question's been there for 5 years, and that will not go away, I'm pretty sure, because I'm British and I'm still fairly young and not really achieved very much. So whilst it is an achievement for us to be there, I don't want to see it like that. We need to feel like we deserve to be there and we belong there, and we have to show that, and the only way we do that is by winning games there and really showing a good account of ourselves as a group, and hopefully we'll do that.
I think any game, by the way, where you've got two young British managers playing and competing in the Premier League against each other is a fair achievement in itself, given the way.
Two young English managers.
British, just finally from me, if I can you shed any light on Armel Bella-Kotchap? We know he's hoping to be in Hoffenheim, but there were sort of scary stories about some heart.
Yeah, he is in Hoffenheim, and it's progressing. So Armel, I think because it mentions the heart, is probably a scarier story than it actually is. He's had a really standard procedure on it. So they want to investigate and do more tests, of course, but it's never really caused them a problem. We've all been aware of it for quite some time, and I expect and I hope for Armel that it will all be fine and it will all happen. So I think as I said, it's progressing. Armel is fine, completely fine, and I think it's a really good deal for all parties. So hopefully for him and for us and for Hoffenheim, it all goes through, and if it doesn't, we'll reassess and we'll get back here. But there is no imminent threat to Armel and his health and safety and all that stuff. So so how that was leaked and how it came out without context and detail is a little bit irresponsible, I think, because it doesn't do the player any favours at all, or the clubs. So it is what it is.
Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, we'll move on for a section for 10:30. We'll start with you, Alfie.
Also, just similar to what Adam was saying, 5 years of journey to get to this point. I was wondering, you always mentioned kids, brothers, uncles, and I was wondering who's going to be there this weekend and who have you spoken to?
Yeah, all of them pretty much, mate. Yeah,
what have they told you?
Up in the gods, sitting up there, and they're just looking forward to it. They're excited, yeah. So they're all going up. My eldest son is going up, mostly because he wants to go to St James Park, I think. But they're all looking forward to it. But again, how they feel about the day is like same as managing at Wembley. If we didn't win at Wembley, it's a completely different feeling for everyone. So and it'll be the same for this. So hopefully we can go there and give everyone that is there, the fans that are coming, making the long journey, the players, their families, our families, hopefully we can give them a day to remember and actually enjoy and to look back on fondly.
I think probably the biggest strength last season as a team was bravery. How do you retain that in the face of a much bigger challenge?
By placing the same value on it that we did all last season and more, by making people understand that we are only going to achieve what we want to achieve by staying brave and by being brave, and that will be the fans included, that will be everyone here. It'll be the owners included as well if we have a tough time. It'll be us included if we have a tough time. I think it's, when I talk about courage, it's not like it's not a buzzword for us, it's how we have to live. And more than ever in the Premier League, I would suggest, when we don't have the financial power. So what we do have is our way of doing things and our way of working as a group, and we have to get better at it.
Do you have a timescale you can share for Adam Lallana, Cameron or Ross Stewart?
I think they'll all be back on the grass next week. You'll see them smiling and running around with the lads. They're all quite advanced in their rehab, so they'll be back and hopefully in contention, maybe for the Carabao Cup game. I would suggest Forest after only a few days of training next week would be maybe too much, but we'll see. We'll be hopeful, but the week after that, hopefully all three of them will be back in contention properly.
One of the things you mentioned today is maybe having to relinquish some of the ball sometimes. You had more possession than any other team in England last season. What challenges does that present your players that may not have had already?
Well, a lot of them played in different styles of football, but it's about me becoming comfortable as well. It's not something I enjoy. So it's about being adaptable and ready for that. And there were a few games last season where we gave up the ball a little bit and we had good results, and we had to because of various reasons in them games and the context of the game and where we were at and what suited the players on the pitch. So we will try and be as dominant as we can be, and we will try and set out on that path, and we will be the team we want to be. But sometimes we have to accept we're going to have to defend and defend really well and run hard and work together and be comfortable with the opposition having some of the ball sometimes. But as much as we can, we'll try and dominate the ball as much as we can.
Just finally on transfers, I can, a quick one. You said to TalkSport yesterday apparently that the club's not in the race for Matt O'Reilly right now. Is that just simply someone who's too expensive for the club situation?
Yeah, so do I like him as a person, a player? I've worked with him before, yeah, of course, but depends how you define in the race. I could say we're in the race for lots of players because we like them or we've watched them or have spoke to them, but it doesn't mean we're in the race. I don't know who is in the race for Matt. I don't know what being in the race means. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Cheers.
You spoke about Armstrong just then as well. Obviously, he scored a lot of goals last season, but didn't score as many last time he was in the Premier League. What's the biggest thing you've seen him in terms of growth in the year you've worked with him?
I don't know. I don't want to patronise Armour. He's a really talented player. He was a really talented player before we got here. Hopefully, he's just now got a platform in a team that really suits him. So he's technically gifted. He runs really hard. He presses like a beast. So I think now he just had more opportunity last season with the ball to show what he can do, and people that really want to find him, and it suits him. So hopefully that will translate to the Premier League as well. And he's desperate to prove that he can do it.
I'm going to look at some of his stats, and he tends to have more shots now in positions that he didn't do before, and that's where he scores a lot of his goals from. Do you feel like those 2 seasons where it didn't quite work out from the Premier League are going to be able to serve him better because he knows what it's like and he can probably bounce back from it better now?
Yeah, I hope so. And he's like a couple of years older, so he's more experienced. He knows himself more. He understands his strengths. He understands the strengths of the team. He understands what suits him, when he needs to run, how he needs to run. And hopefully we'll give him the platform again to go and show what he can do. And it was a beautiful privilege to watch so many of them grow last season in terms of confidence, and to see them coming back to life a little bit. And he was one of them. Jan Bednarek, another one. Stewie Armstrong was another one on that journey. Shea, so many of the guys that had a bit of scar tissue from the season before to then go and really produce what they wanted to do. And some of them it took longer than others. With Armour, he just set off straight away because I think he was just chomping at the bit to show what he could do. And we just have to stay really hungry as a group, really humble as a group, and really willing to work for each other, us and the players, and then hopefully the rest will happen.
Last one from me, you touched with Alfie there about players and fitness-wise. Juan Laris is another one who's been out for so long. He's been with the 21s. Is he more likely to stick with them for a little bit to get that bit of game time?
Well, he's training with us. He's just playing for them because he hasn't had a consolidated period of games. So he's going to play 60 minutes, all being well. Fingers crossed tomorrow night against Leicester. And then that'll be his 3rd game of minutes, but we need to get him to a game where he plays 90 minutes. It's been a long, long time since he's done that, but we're really happy for Juan and really pleased for him, and seeing how hard he's worked to get back to this place. So now it's just a case of progressing and stepping up slowly but surely, and hope that he can stay fit for long enough that he becomes a real option for us, because he's a really talented player and a really brilliant character. And so hopefully we will get him there, yeah. I've got no doubt he can help us.